Can I check quickly? Are you
Yes,
with us?
yes, yes.
You back?
I'm here. Yeah,
Oh, great. Thank you
absolutely.
so much for your patience. Thank you so much for understanding. And thank you so much for waiting till this time. I really appreciate that. Sometimes we try to manage, organize, plan, but sometimes we just have to ease, just relax ourselves when one or two things crop up so that we are not stressed while we are learning. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I believe that you have a powerful, powerful, powerful lecture that you need to deliver. And that is worth your waiting. Thank you. We appreciate that. Okay, let me introduce to us Professor and also Dr. Suprata. Thank you as well, because you're supposed to start your section earlier than this. But I really appreciate you for understanding and also waiting behind. Okay, now let's move on. Professor Dr. Ravinder Rena will be sharing with us on a very important topic as well as all other topics that we've been sharing on this platform today. Relationship in education. Relationship in education. Professor Dr. Ravinder Rena is a profound academician and distinguished scholar in economics, writer, educator, editor, advisor, motivational speaker, and public intellectual with over 30 years of teaching and research experience in Asia Pacific, Africa, and European continent. He has been an independent consultant and training expert. Professor Rena is currently working as adjunct professor of economics, DUT Business School, Faculty of Management Sciences, Durban, University of Technology, Durban, South Africa. He's also served as an adjunct professor of economics for master's and doctorate programs at Monarch Business School, Monarch University, Switzerland. Professor Rena served as the honorary country director, South Africa, for the for the International Intensive University. Further, he works as a visiting professor for many universities, notably the Sisri University, Kotak, India. Previously, he worked as a professor of economics and internationalized project leader at the NWU Business School, Northwest South Africa. He served as professor of economics at the Department of Economy, University of the Western Cape, Cape Town, South Africa. He also served as professor and the coordinator Joint African Masters Program, JAMP, and also worked as the head of Economic Department of Business Studies, the Papua New Guinea University of Technology. Professor Rena earned his PhD from the Department of Economics, Osmania University in India, with the achievement of the University Gold Medal. He obtains his Master's BEd MPhil University in India. He has bagged many awards and prizes. To name a few, he got the prestigious award of the best results from Namibia University of Science and Technology, and also the recipient of the esteemed award, Man of the Year, was bestowed upon him by the American Biography Institute, ABI, USA. Based on his extraordinary research contributions, the American Historical Society, USA, has been enlisted his profile in the World Who is Who International. He served as the chairman of the panel of judges for Economic of the Global Undergraduate UA Award based in Dublin, Ireland, United Kingdom. He wrote 10 books and published more than 130 articles in the reputed national and international peer-reviewed journals and 35 books chapters to his credit. Besides, he has published more than 150 articles in newspapers and magazines and websites and presented over 50 papers in national and international conferences and seminars. He visited more than 300 colleges and universities across the globe. And recently, he just traveled from India and from Russia to India, from India to South Africa, and so many. But now, as we catch him up, he's here with us here on this platform of Yes You Can International, UK or worldwide, and he's also our president of YYCI South Africa. So allow me to welcome Professor Dr. Ravinder Rena to share with us his wealth of knowledge. Thank you,
Well,
sir.
good afternoon and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think it should be afternoon in UK by now. And
Yes, it
thank you
is.
very much, Professor Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth, Madam, for inviting me for this particular important task of Masterclass. Yes, UK International. And the topic that we have today is the relationship in education. There's a lot to talk, but I just would like to highlight some of the important points in the interest of time in the coming about half an hour time, because there are also other speakers, I guess. And I was also listening to Dr. TPS and probably many other people perceptions. And I would like to unpack here the structure of education. How does it looks like? And the education, if you look at the number of students across the globe, that we have about 2.3 billion people. So one can imagine the fact that that is probably close to a quarter, 25% of the total population of the world are students from primary school to whatever the PhD level. So we do have a huge amount of student population. And if you look at the number of universities across the globe, there are millions and millions of teachers working and millions of schools also existing across the globe. And then if you look at the total number of universities, probably they got more than 25,000 universities across the globe, where India has got 1,050 universities and more than 48,000 colleges in India. And in Africa as a continent, we have close to 1,300 universities in the continent, and there could be a number of colleges. So the student population in Africa, the student population in Southeast Asia, Asia in general, sub-Saharan African area, that's where the problem comes actually in terms of education. But the education basically, ladies and gentlemen, is the relationship how we build and what is this relationship is all about, and how does it helps for us to become better educated citizenry or better educated community and better educated human being. So holistically, if you look at the entire education process, we always believe that there is a strong bond, a strong association with education and with the human being, whoever we are. So if we do not establish that relationship, and if we do not make it more stronger, that bond, and then whatever we study, that is only for years' sake, and it is not going to have any impact on us as an individual. It will not have any impact on the country. It will not have any impact on the economy or whatever we do in the world. We are just like any other human being. Out of 8.1 billion people living in this planet, we will be just one among them, and we are not educated people per se. So the meaning of education, ladies and gentlemen, is that it is not that you got a PhD degree or a master degree from Harvard University or Oxford University or Stanford University or Delhi School of Economics or probably UCT University of Cape Town. It's not that actually. And education is basically the realistic definition of education is that whether you have a PhD degree or a master degree or a diploma or certificate, whichever you have, you do not have, doesn't matter. But how you treat other fellow human being with respect, with love, with care. And if you do not have that kind of behavior of education, then you are not educated person. You are probably, there could be literate people, they may behave better than you, and you have a PhD from maybe science, technology, innovation, engineering, or medical sciences from Harvard University, but just that is a piece of paper in my view. So the relationship that you have with your certificate, the piece of paper that you obtained through your graduation degree, and the way that you are working as a professional, and then probably if a common man who doesn't have anything, who doesn't spend number of years, what you spend with your skill, your dexterity, your knowledge base, whatever you develop, if you do not have, if you only have information, if you only have got the knowledge, if you do not have the wisdom, which is more far more superior than the knowledge base, and then you are just like an ordinary being. You're not an educated person. So it is not your position as a vice chancellor. It's not about your dean, director, or whichever professor, whichever position that you have. And if you are, do not probably have that kind of inclination and empathy, and to have that soft corner or the kind heart towards other fellow human being, and respect with high respect that we do, the same respect that we do actually in the temples and in the churches, in the mosques. We fold our two hands and we pray to the Almighty, the Supreme Power, that we put everything in His hand and we pray to Him. So every human being living here on this planet, that's why in Hindu philosophy we say Namaste. The meaning of Namaste is that the divine in me is saluting the divine in you. So meaning that you as an individual, you as a human being, whether you are a garden boy, whether you are a queen, or Queen Elizabeth passed away a few years ago, or probably you are a king, Charles, or maybe the Prime Minister, Rishi, or Prime Minister Modi, or whoever you are, and you are a human being, but you are equal to the supreme power, that is God. That is the way that we say namaste. So the meaning of namaste is that you're respecting other fellow human beings with all your humility, with your you know kind of kind behavior. So that is what is real education. But is it really possible for us to treat every human being? Maybe when we go to the hotel and post restaurant, and when we order a food, probably we begin to treat our waiter brother or sister, slave, or like maybe somebody who is low level. And when I put this suit and the coat and the tie, and people they begin to respect me because of this dress, because of the position that I hold, not because of the humanity that I. So that is the conflict actually. We need to understand that that is not an education. So education, the relationship between education is more, far more behind than what we see today in terms of the behavior, in terms of the relationships, in terms of the association that we establish among ourselves as two people or more than two people, and so on. So we do say in Indian perspective that Guru is highest kind of order, and Upadhyaya, Guru, Upadhyaya, these are the people, Acharya. Acharya is like a professor. These are the highest kind of people with wisdom, great amount of wisdom. And this guru one side and the shishya, the disciple on the other side, they need to have that connectivity. They need to have that relationship, a strong relationship. If we do not have, during the time of Shanti Vidya Niketan, which was a school that was established by Ravinder Tagore ji, who got the Nobel Prize in probably 1911 or 1912, uh, for his literature book, Gitanjali. And he was the one who set up more than 100 years ago. That school, they do not have any buildings, they do not have any kind of sophisticated air conditioned rooms and whatever we say, the smart boards and smart laptops and so on. They were all sitting under the tree. They were all learning. They were all following the instructions given by the guru. And that relationship among the shishya, who is disciple, and guru, is absolutely stronger. So that relationship, historically, India was the first country to establish universities, Nalanda, Takshashila, Ujjaini, and there are so many other universities that have been established. And there are so many foreign scholars, they were coming to India to study historically before 7th century BC and so on. So that Shishya and Guru, or the disciple and Guru's association, connectivity, and the relationship is always playing a vital role in the performance one side, on the quality on the other side, and having the best education system. So that is probably is missing. Now we have the education system that has been transformed over a period of time. It was reformed over a period of time. Macaulay education system probably started in 1835. Lord Macaulay, who was trying to revamp the entire education system of India and tried to introduce the so-called Montessori education system, the, where we in Africa and other part of the world, we begin to learn about the Montessori instead of having Gurukula, the Gurukula system, the Vishwavidyalaya, or the schooling system that has been completely dismantled. And then the things have been changed across the globe, India and maybe Africa and elsewhere in the world because of the colonization process. So in the interest of time, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to stick to the education should always in the connectivity between the guru and the shishya, the disciple. If the shishya, the disciple doesn't respect and doesn't have that kind of honesty, integrity, love, and care, and the huge respect for the guru, the teacher, then the education system will have always kind of breakdowns. And it can be not sustainable, it can be susceptible. It is going to be having a lot of weaknesses and it is going to be fragile. It's not going to be long lasting, actually. So there are students that even Ekalavya, for example, Ekalavya means that is the disciple who learned, who was not allowed to enter into the school because of the untouchability issues those days. And Ekalavya began to learn by looking at the what the other students are practicing in the school environment through the window or from the outside. He learned himself, and he tries to have that kind of the skill, the dexterity, the knowledge that he developed. And then the guru asked him that because you become a better art, better person to shoot with the arrow and bow, and therefore I wanted to take as a guru dakshana. That means that the contribution that you've given to me as a teacher, that you give this finger without thinking anything, he just cut the finger and give it to the guru. So that is the kind of attachment. That is the kind of relationship that we need to possess in the education. I'm not saying that you need to bribe your teacher, you need to give something which is not usable or which is probably useful to you, but it is that much strong relationship that you need to establish between your teacher, your professor, your lecturer, and yourself. And that will allow you to become the better human being. That will allow you to become probably better intellect. And you could always contribute wherever you go in the world. Whatever you do on this platform, you could always try to contribute. And that the value that you're going to add is going to make huge difference in the society, the country, in the world. So the education, indeed, as Nelson Mandela says, that education has got the power, where the power, it is a strong weapon, and this weapon, which is so powerful that it has got the capacity to make a child who is born in an agricultural family, and that child can become president of a nation. There are so many farming children or farmers' children, they become presidents or prime ministers in the world. So that is the power of education. The scavenger who is working in the scavenger and as a scavenger, and his son can become a better civil servant like the IAS and IPS officer in Indian scenario, or a rickshaw puller's son. In so many cases, it had happened that uh, education could give a power to such kind of downtrodden, underprivileged sections of the society, financially, socially, culturally, they are weaker societies, weaker sections of the past. communities, so they could able to become somebody that they could become engineers, or they can become doctors, whatever the background that they have. So this is the power of education. So education has got a lot of strength that can transform everything, that can change everything positively and build some new structures. So this is what the education power. But when we look at the education, what we see today, ladies and gentlemen, is that do we really have that education system? What has been supposed to be, and what should be well grounded, and it should be constructed from the bottom, from the basement, so that we are going to have the sustainable livelihood, and we are going to carry this powerful education to the next generation. So we have seen a lot of changes that are. There is a saying that if you wanted to destroy a country, you don't need to use nuclear weapons like what America was using, what Russia was using, what India and Pakistan and Israel and other countries were using. You don't need nuclear weapons at all. What you need to do is that just to lower the levels or the quality of education, then automatically your country is going to destroy itself. So, meaning that if you have a poor education system, where you do not have respect for your own teachers, where you do not have respect for the curricula, where you do not have respect for your content, where you do not have respect for what you're doing with your examinations, and what you are going to produce, you're going to produce only paper holders. You're not going to produce the educated community. So meaning that if you produce a doctor, a medical doctor, on whom we think that he's going to be a savior for our life, he's going to promote our welfare and our health, he's going to destroy, he's going to kill you without having it, without taking much time, because of the poor quality of education he has. An engineer who built a bridge, and that bridge is not going to last. There are so many bridges across developing countries that have been collapsed in 2 to 5 years' time, and within the short span of period, they are collapsed, and there are people, dozens and people, number of people got killed. So because of the poor quality of education, and that is what the engineers we are producing. An accountant or an economist, or probably a management consultant, who are having a poor levels of skill, knowledge, and the wisdom, if he is given any kind of power, authority to manage certain things, will always try to do wrong things without doing the right things actually. So therefore, even the priest who is coming from the church education as a minister, as probably for any other kind of position that he hold, or brother, or probably a priest, or archbishop, or whichever position he has. If he doesn't have the morals for himself, he doesn't know the value of education for himself, he's going to preach the wrong things to the people. And he's going to become a millionaire or a billionaire for himself, stealing the people's money, and that's what they are going to do. So this is what is exactly happening. So this is how you are trying to destroy the whole community, the people in your country, and the economy. Eventually, you are going to destroy just because you are low level. You are lowering the levels and the quality of it. The high quality of education always sustainable, and it will always pay. It's a kind of value, and it's always pay for everything what we do with that. So there are high quality education that we see today. Of course, the perceptions will vary, and maybe your perspectives will also will vary. That countries like Korea has got so much strong education system. They don't take it everything for granted. They will make sure that whoever studies, whether it's a primary school education, secondary school education, tertiary college or university education, student from the A to Z, they have to pass through certain kind of challenges, certain ups and downs and so on. And then they got the skill and dexterity. We have country like Singapore also follow. We have Finland's education system, and Germany, Russia. I was there last week probably. There in Russia, Roden University as a district professor. So Russians also they do. Indian education system used to be strong enough. Still, there are some institutions, it varies from institution to institution, but still there are some kind of countries that they could, American education system also we consider that. There are people that are trying to maintain the quality and the standards. That's why they are always remain there in that top positions in terms of education like Harvard, Oxford, Stanford, MIT, and so on. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to mention here, in the interest of time, that how many minutes more I have? Maybe another 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Should I conclude so that we have question and
Yes,
answer?
yes,
Thank you. Thank you for that. Well, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we do have three categories of teachers. One is the mediocre teachers, average teachers. They come to the classroom, they just tell stories. They do not talk about education. They do not talk about the skill, what the student's supposed to learn. They will just maintain the time. They will just complete their time, then they will go. So they just tell whatever is there in the content. I can read, you can read, children can read. So that's what the mediocre average teachers they do. And we have, unfortunately, we got more average teachers in this world than the good teachers and the best teachers. So the good teacher, at least he tries to explain the relevant examples and tries to do his best, whatever he can do to disseminate the knowledge. And the best teacher always he inspires the student. Even if there are 10% or 20% of the students that are inspired, we cannot inspire 100% of the students in the classroom environment, but at least even 10-20% students that are inspired. And those students, they can also inspire others. So one can teach the 10, and 10 can teach the 100, 100 can teach the thousands, and it goes on like that. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, the three categories of teacher that we have. Average teacher is very, very costly, actually. It's costing a lot of money because of the kind of basic level, because of the mediocre level of education that he has, and the way he is associating himself with the children, with the curriculum, with the content, with the morals and ethics and the value system of education. He's really costing a lot of money because he's producing only the mediocre students. The good teachers and the best teachers, they are very few in number, and they are the one who is really still maintaining this global education system or the education system in every country in the world. They are the one who work hard day and night because they are committed, they are dedicated. They always make sure that they want to perform. From their side, they also want their students to perform at least in par with the levels of standards. So that is what is needed here. We have seen with the Internet of Things, IoT, and there are so many things have been changed for the past 1.5, 2 decades down the line. We have more technologies that have been this massive online courses that have been everywhere, online distance mode, and that education is coming. And probably Coursera, you have so many other Uday and so on and so forth. There are so many other platforms where you just learn online. Now we are online. Professor Elizabeth is in UK, and I'm in South Africa. Professor TPS in India, and Professor Dr. Subrata is also in India, and Madam is in Samina in Pakistan, and so on. So we do have different locations at different countries, and thousands of kilometers we are far away from each other, but we can see this online. But me, as an experienced teacher and a professor, for the last 32 years of my experience, worked in different continents in the world. Unless and otherwise, you have the classroom face-to-face teaching, and this online teaching will not be effective. It will not make us more sustainable. It will not connect us more closely connected with each other. So it is more an educated person should be connected with the heart. If you are connected with your heart, with your education, the relationship you establish with your mother, with your wife, with your children, you establish not with your mind actually, with your heart. The relationship that you establish with your family, your near and dear, with your loved ones is directly going to the heart. Education is also like that. Let your heart goes to education. You establish the relationship with the education, not with your mind. Even if you are not a brilliant guy, but it is close to your heart, you are more committed, you are more dedicated, you perform with your values and ethics, and you do your duty properly. You are much more better teacher than the really intelligent person, intelligent teacher. So it is more into that commitment, actually, the values that we are going to add to the education system. So the children of today, they are going to the future of our society, the whatever in the coming centuries. We are all going to die one day, ladies and gentlemen, and we are here only for temporary. We are like bubbles. When we are bubbles, the bubble can burst at any time, and anything may happen to anybody actually. This world. So when we live this temporary life of 50 years, 70 years, or 100 years, probably 120 years, very few people, and that's all we are going to. And when we live for this temporary period, we need to take care of the education. We need to establish the relationship with our education. No matter whether a rich person or a poor person, but we are honest in learning and building that learning process and maintaining that quality standards, then you are an educated person. You can transform, you can perform, you can reform yourself, and you can transform. So these are the ways that you can try to build a strong educational foundation and the relationship that you establish yourself with education, because it is a power. It is like a god actually. Education and the wisdom and the knowledge is like a god, and a god you don't disrespect. In the same way, you don't disrespect the education. If you disrespect the education, you are going to be a normal human being. You respect that and you take it very seriously, and you do what you wanted to do, your knowledge, your innovation, your science, technology, and then you can always contribute something to this world. So with these few words, I would like to conclude by stating thanks to Dr. Elizabeth and the other fellow speakers and for giving me this opportunity. And if there are any questions, I would like to. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for sharing with us this afternoon. We really appreciate, especially this relationship matters. And you've really dealt with it properly because you said to us that there are three things that we need to focus on when we are talking about relationship in education. We need to talk about behavior. We need to talk about relationship and also respect. Because if we respect education, then we can perform well. And we need to also let our heart go into our education. So not only just pump it into our head, but our heart, because our heart will dictate for us how we're going to utilize what we've learned. And it will also give us for us to perform well and show passion in what we're doing by teaching and coaching and mentoring our students. When you put passion in it, you are putting your heart into it. So I really appreciate that. And also we can transform, we can reform, and we can inform in relationship. So thank you so much for that. And I just want to quickly ask one question about this relationship in education. Just on one statement, because I have a lot of questions, but because of the time today, I won't be able to ask more questions. But one simple question I need to ask is, how do we cope with the relationship between the students and teachers and parents, the circle? I wish Dr. TPS was here as well to listen to this question. Can you just tell us in few statements the relationship between students, teachers, and parents? How can we integrate it? That's the question.
That's a very good question, Prof. That it's like a triangular kind of relationship. When we just make it triangular, or when we make a pyramid, that sometimes at the bottom, maybe student and the parent, or probably teacher on the top, whichever the angle that we look at. So it should be co-integrated actually. And without having a proper base from the home, where the parents contribute a lot actually to educate the child with the morals, with the values, with the discipline, with all those things. So the parents should play a vital role at home, because charity begins at home. Education also starts at home. So that is what is important. And then when it comes to the schooling environment, where the teacher plays his role, where he try to shape and try to reshape them and try to put them into a structure. So that it means that if there is an iron rod, you can melt the iron rod, and that melting process should take place there. And when that same hot melting process, that iron rod, if it comes to the school, the child comes to the school, then teacher is going to panel beat it and put them into a perspective, put them into a systematic shape.
Excellent answer. Thank you so much. Dr. Samina, do you have any questions for Professor Ravinder this afternoon? Dr. Samina? Okay, I believe there is no question at the moment. Oh, yes. Do you have any
Yes.
question? Okay.
Uh, Tell something about the behavior and respect. That what kind of respect a teacher and a student and their family give to the others, so that they can become good model, shape and reshape, because teachers play a role, vital role, in shaping and reshaping.
Mm.
And so the tell something about the behavior.
Well, Dr. Samina, thank you for that question. That I know in Pakistan also probably you also have the same belief system. In our philosophy, probably we believe that your mother is your first God, Matru Devo Bhava. Pitru Devo Bhava is your father is your second God, and third God is your teacher, that is Acharya Devo Bhava, and the fourth God is Atidhi, your guest. Whether it could be your neighbor, it could be your any guest that comes to your home. So if you could able to respect, these are all the four gods, these are the four pillars of the societal foundation, societal structure, whether it's the education system or anything. If you maintain these four pillars firmly, robustly, then the rest will always go, and it will go into its own place without having any kind of distractions or deviations. So we need to respect the teacher no matter. Now in Nigeria, for example, a Nigerian teacher on an average in Lagos and other areas is getting about 70, 75,000 nairas. So 75,000 nairas at the exchange rate of today is what $1 is equal to 1,600 nairas. How much dollars is getting per month, one can imagine. If you go to Zimbabwe, you go to India, you go to come to South Africa, or even Russia, I was there a few days ago in Russia. The salaries of a professor, the salaries of a teacher is absolutely between $50 to maybe $400. That's the salary that they get in these countries. Now, when my own students, probably they are working in different capacities like maybe CEOs to managing directors and many other capacities. I know many of my students, they have more salary than me, but the respect, it's not about the salary what you earn. It's not about the money that you are making. It's the respect that you need to give to your teacher. So that fundamental respect, if you maintain that relationship with high respect, that he is your teacher, he is your mentor, he is your knowledgeable man, that you always learn something from him. And that respect will always, that gratitude,
Mm.
that relationship that you establish with the respect and the gratitude and with the honesty will always make a robustness, and it will make you as a best human being actually.
Mm. Excellent, excellent. I hope Dr. Samina is happy
Excellent.
about the answer.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
thank you.
appreciate.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank you so
Professor Ravinder. And I think you have another section with us tomorrow. So we try,
Is it
hopefully,
tomorrow or next week, Prof? Is it 13th or is it 7th of May?
I think, let me quickly check. I think you
13th, I
have,
think you mentioned it is 13th, but you can cross check and you can talk to me later
okay,
in the
I'll talk
evening.
to you later. I'll talk to you
Yeah.
later because I think you have another section with us tomorrow. So we are
No
going
problem.
to the next section now. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you, sir. Thank you for waiting longer today. I'm so sorry about all this. Sometimes when you plan all this, human being as human being, we will always have our ups and downs. And then when it comes to connectivity is another issue as well. So that is why it was slightly delayed this morning. So, but I'm glad that you came back and you deliver your section. And I also want to express my apology as well to Dr. Suprata for delaying his section as well. I'm so sorry. I mean, there's some things that you think everything is perfect. And then sometimes something will just come up. And then, so that is to show you that none of us are perfect. And even the situation, the system, everything. You plan yourself, the system might say, no, slow down. Or sometimes the system is working, you yourself, you have an issue. And that is the uniqueness of being human and being authentic, because we want to show the world that we are not perfect and anything can fail, anything we can make mistakes, and sometimes we can fall, but we have to really readjust ourselves and respond, not react, like the previous 6 speakers have said. And that is why we are on this platform, to learn how to improve ourselves. And I really want to appreciate you, Professor Doctor, because probably today you've increased in your level of patience and waiting. And even Dr.
I was there with you
Subrata.
actually. I didn't even go when other colleague was speaking. For that
Okay, so you were here
was there
then.
literally. I
Oh,
didn't go anywhere. I'm there actually.
oh,
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you so much. So you are showing us the practicality of what
Right.
we are learning. Thank you so much. Okay,
Right.
right.